Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali and I'm an FY1 junior doctor working in Cambridge. And in today's episode of Medical Mondays, we're going to be taking a comprehensive look at what it takes to study medicine in Europe. So we've just had results day, and if unfortunately you didn't get any offers to study medicine in the UK or you missed your offers, there might be another option, and that is to study medicine in Europe. Now, I really didn't know anything about this until a few weeks ago. I got a message from this guy called Abdullah who runs an agency that helps people study medicine in Europe. And he messaged me asking if I could advertise this thing, but I replied saying that why don't you come over to my place, we can record a video where I interview you and you explain to all of the viewers exactly how it works, like, you know, what sort of grades do you need, what are the entrance exams like, is the degree even registered by the GMC, all of this sort of stuff. So he came over to my place, we recorded like a half an hour long interview, and in that interview I tried asking all the questions that I think a prospective medical applicant would ask. So yeah, welcome to Medical Mondays. I hope you enjoy this long form interview. This is all quite niche, so it's not going to interest anyone other than people who are interested in studying medicine in Europe, but hopefully you'll find it useful. I'll see you at the end. Hi, Abdullah.
Hello.
Welcome to the YouTube channel and to this new
Thank you for having me.
kind of podcast setup. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Abdullah. I am a fourth year medical student and I currently study in Bulgaria.
Okay, so you study medicine in Bulgaria?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been doing it for the last 4 years and it's a 6-year course?
Yes, it's a 6-year course and it is divided into 3 sort of sections. So the first 2 years are preclinical. Then the next 3 years, the year 3 to 5, you have your clinical years,
yeah.
And then the final year is an internship, which is basically like F1 in the UK. It's equivalent to it, and the GMC recognizes that as well.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what it's like to study medicine in Europe, and I think kind of aiming this towards people who are applying to medicine but maybe want to have an extra option just in case they don't get any offers or in case they don't make their offer or for other reasons. Is that all right?
Yes, I mean, that's exactly what it's for, because a lot of people, they don't meet their offers or they don't have the grade requirements to even apply for medicine in the UK. I know when I was applying, my tutor told me that there's not really any point applying for medicine, but I still gave it a shot, but for me it didn't work out. And knowing that I had a backup plan was something that really helped out.
Okay, so I guess my first question is, what sort of grades do you need to do medicine in Europe as opposed to the UK? Because I imagine it's lower requirements in Europe,
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, so the requirements are much lower than the UK. Some universities have a minimum requirement, which is usually C grades. Some universities don't have any grade requirement, but they do want you to do biology and chemistry A-levels. Now, the way it works is each university has an entrance exam, which you need to study for and pass in order to actually make it to the university. And then the top students that are ranked, and they are given admission. So that's sort of how it works. It's more entrance exam based than based on your A-levels, which gives you a second chance. So if you didn't do so well in your A-levels, you can still make it up in the entrance exam and move forward.
And is there a standardized entrance exam, or does every university have their own one?
Every university have their own one, but they give a syllabus and you can work around it, and they give practice papers. You can study for it very easily and make it through.
Okay. And in terms of the timeline, is it similar to the UK where you start in September and you finish in like July, or what?
So majority of the universities have a very similar timeline. So as you said, start in September and finish July time. There's one university called Pleven Medical University that has a bit of a different schedule. So they start in February and then they finish in the following December.
Okay. So for the most part, it's similar kind of structure to the UK. Okay, so what would you say are like why wouldn't you want to go to Europe? Like, why is it like? Would it be fair to say that it's better to study medicine in the UK, or do you think that actually going to Europe that is kind of a good thing to do?
I would say for the most part of it, getting a place to study medicine in the UK is ideal because it's more convenient.
Okay.
But in terms of your actual degree and the job prospects that come with it, I don't really see much difference between studying in Europe and studying in the UK, because at the end of the day you're taught the same things, because medicine is medicine. And at the end of the day, if you didn't get that offer in the UK, there's no point looking into other career prospects if you do have that option of studying medicine in Europe.
Okay. So yeah, because I've been getting a lot of messages from people recently saying that, oh, I didn't get any offers, therefore I'm not sure if medicine is for me at all. should I take a gap year, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
prior to kind of talking to you, I just never really considered that, yeah, you could go to Europe, study medicine. The idea I had in my head was that, oh, you have to have really rich parents to be able to pay the however tens of thousands of pounds fees to go to Europe or the Caribbean or wherever.
The Caribbean, yeah, I know it's a bit expensive, but when it comes to Europe, the fees are actually lower than the UK. It's €8,000 per year, which is roughly around £6,000. And the cost is split between 2 semesters. So you pay £3,000 in the beginning of your first semester, which starts in September.
Yep.
And you pay the other £3,000 at the start of your second semester, which usually starts in February.
Okay. And what about in terms of living costs and stuff? Like, what's your overall cost of?
So living costs are fairly cheap as well compared to the UK. My living costs come to around £500 or less a month.
Is that including rent?
Yes.
Oh, no.
So
Okay.
my rent is about £230 a month.
Wow.
And I have my own 1-bedroom apartment.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like how much I pay in about 10 days in Cambridge. And I imagine people in London are paying a lot more than that.
I know, man. All my friends, when I speak to them, they're
Yeah.
all paying ridiculous prices because they're going to universities in London, and they're paying their rent is based on weeks, not
Yeah.
months. And so you can get a nice luxury 1-bedroom apartment starting from around 230, which I'm paying.
Yeah.
And it can get expensive if you
sure.
choose.
Yeah, if you choose the absolute luxury.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
swimming pools and stuff. Okay, so you are in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And I know people in Prague. What other options do people have?
They have plenty of options. There's Czech Republic, as you said. There's Bulgaria, where I study. There's Romania. There's Hungary. There are other options as well available in places like Poland, but I don't know too much about that. I know more about Bulgaria, Romania, and Eastern Europe more.
Okay.
recently.
Yeah, there's actually 2 F1s in my current batch in Cambridge who are from Poland. And
Oh, really?
they
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, they applied through some random scheme. Speaking of, how do you get into like F1 or F2 or whatever from Europe?
From Europe, it's pretty straightforward. It is pretty similar to the way you would apply yourself.
Okay.
So you would go for your GMC registration number, and you would apply through the GMC, and then you'd look for jobs the same way a UK student would.
But when you're graduating in the UK, you apply for an F1 and F2 kind of post together. But you were saying before we ran this that
Yes.
you go straight into F2.
Because you already have done your 6th year in Bulgaria, which is an internship,
Yeah.
and that's recognized by the GMC as F1. It's not exactly the same, but
Yeah.
they do recognize it, and they do exempt you from going straight into F1, so you can apply for just F2 jobs.
Okay.
Instead.
But if you wanted to, you could go for F1 as well.
You could, but I'm not sure whether there are many posts available for F1 for international students. Usually they do go straight out onto F2.
Okay. So how many posts are available for F2 students? I got the impression from talking to these F1s at my hospital that it's quite hard to get a place where you want.
It is, but because of the UK MLA which is coming in, it's going to be a bit more based on that. So that's an entrance exam to actually apply for your GMC registration number. It's starting from 2022, and it's an exam which is going to be given by both UK students and international students. So anyone that does apply now and from now on, they all have to sit that exam. So where you get a place and where you can find jobs, that will all really depend on what your UKMLA score is like.
Okay. So do we know that it's just going to be based on that, or is this kind of up in the air at the moment? We're not quite sure.
It is a bit up in the air at the moment, which is why I can't give too much details about that. But as far as my knowledge it goes, it's going to be mainly based on that score.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. So it sounds like studying medicine in Europe then becomes an option. It's not the ideal option, as you said, because of lack of convenience and just, we've got student finance in the UK, but you have to front the fees yourself. So you either have to...
In terms of finance, if it is a struggle, then definitely applying in the UK is going to be a much more convenient option for you. And obviously traveling abroad, it's a bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
But there are agencies like one that I am part of myself called MedConnect Europe, where we help students apply abroad. We help them find apartments, help them with the whole process.
Okay, right, yeah. So how
the hassle?
How does this work? So let's say I've missed my offers and I'm thinking, I don't really want to do a gap year. and I find out on like the 15th of August or whatever results day is, what is the process and how does your agency or other kind of agencies fit in? Do you need an agency? Like how does it work?
So you don't actually need an agency. You can apply independently, contact the universities directly, register for the entrance exam and sit the entrance exam, which is held at the campus of the university.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't need an agency, you can just contact the university. So let's say I missed my offer, I could contact random university X in Prague and say, hey, I want to apply to you. And then they have their own application process, is that right?
Yes. Now, the reason you'd use an agency is because this process can be quite tedious a bit, and it can be full of different obstacles that you may not know how to overcome. So what we do is we make the process very simple. What happens is, because it is an international process, you have to get your documents legalized and notarized and all of this legal stuff you have to go through, and it can be quite costly and it can be a bit of a hassle. So we take care of all of that. We help with the entrance exam as well. So with the resources available, it might not be enough what the university provides, so we have our own resources which we've written as medical students to give that sort of boost to actually help them out when they go for the entrance exam.
Okay.
And all of that, at the end of the day, helps students when they are applying to the university to actually get the admission they want.
Okay. So how do I know which university I want to apply for?
You can research all the different universities. On our website, we have all the universities that we cover listed and a little bit of information on each of them. So in terms of academia, all the universities are very similar in terms of facilities and the teaching, but what it really comes down to is the social life and living standards, because certain cities such as Sofia and Plovdiv, they're quite big, and they're quite, so for Sofia in particular, it's a very big city. It's sort of like it's the capital city of Bulgaria. So if you're studying there, you're going to have a much different life to, say, another city which is called Varna, and they have a medical school there, which is right next to the beach.
Okay.
So it really depends on what kind of social life you're looking for and how big the international community is as well. So with a university like Varna, you have a lot of German students there, whereas where I am, Plovdiv, there's a massive UK-based community in terms of this international students that study there.
Okay, and is that the kind of thing that you would find on their website? They would say that we have loads of students from the UK, or is that something you kind of have to know?
That's why I'm here telling you guys about this.
Okay, right, so I missed my offer and it's currently August. When do I have to apply? And am I applying for that year or the following year? Or
you can apply for that year.
Okay.
There's an entrance exam for a few of the universities in early September, and then the course usually starts late September after all the entrance exam is done. For the university that I study at, Plovdiv Medical University, the entrance exam dates for this year are 3rd of September and 10th of September. So what you do is you have to apply before one of those dates. You register for the entrance exam. You start gathering your documents and getting them done through the legal process, and then when you go for your entrance exam, you have to hand in the documents alongside an application form. Then on the 15th of September, you get a list of all the students that have made it through, and if you're on that list, then you can then start looking to pack your bags and actually move abroad.
Oh wow, okay, so it happens like really quickly.
It's a very quick
So you
process.
get results in, and within like 2 weeks you have to take this exam, or 3 weeks, and then you're in another country by the following month. If
you're still thinking about it, you can still apply for the following year. Or as I said, there's a university that starts in February called Pleven Medical University, so you still get a bit of time with that one.
Okay.
But if you're looking to just start straight away, that's still an option, because you can do the entrance exam early September and start looking to move abroad by the end of September.
Okay. Cool. So it sounds like studying medicine in Europe is definitely an option. It's like, are all the qualifications recognised by the UK?
Yes,
for the most part?
all of the universities in Bulgaria are definitely recognised in the UK.
Yeah.
You can find information about European students and foreign students on the GMC website, and all the universities that they recognise. There's a whole list of them.
Okay.
And all the information is there on the GMC website for that.
Okay. Right. So Okay, so studying medicine in Europe, everything is taught in English, is it? Or do you have to learn like Bulgarian or Czech or whatever?
So the way it works in Bulgaria specifically is that you have your professors, they all speak English.
Yep.
And your course is completely taught in English. However, you do learn Bulgarian on the side as well, mainly to speak with locals when you're out and about, and also to speak with patients who might not know English later on when you're in your clinical years. But it's very basic stuff, nothing that people should be worried about, because over time when you're actually there, by the time when you'll actually need to use the language, you'll be there for a pretty long time, so you'll pick it up along the way.
So you're in your 4th year now?
Yes.
So you've started clinicals already?
Yes.
So you do talk to patients in Bulgarian?
The patients that don't know English, I try to use Bulgarian, even though my Bulgarian isn't up to scratch.
Okay.
But the universities do also provide translators if your Bulgarian really isn't that good.
Okay.
So learning Bulgarian isn't much of an issue. It is a part of the course that you should be able to speak Bulgarian. So they do teach it, but none of your studies will be conducted in Bulgarian at all. Some of the professors even actually studied in the UK and have done training courses in the UK as well. One of my internal med professors, he did a few years in the University of Manchester, and one of my biology professors, she actually studied at the University of Cambridge.
Oh, okay. Cool. So most of the teaching, he said, is done in English, but you have language learning as a course, as a component of it.
Yes.
And I imagine it's similar in like Prague and Romania and stuff.
Yes, I know it's the same in Romania, but I'm not sure about Prague.
Okay, but I imagine this information is all readily available on their websites.
Yes,
and you said if you go on the GMC website, you find a link of all the universities where they recognise the qualification. Okay. So at this point, I've missed my offer. I'm feeling sad, but I realised that actually I've got medicine in Europe as an option. Presumably I do kind of need to be able to pay that £6,000 plus the £500.
Yes, that's one of the negative points, which is that you have to self-fund your studies. Usually parents help out with this. If not, there are a few students who try to come back to the UK as often as possible to fund their studies by doing jobs. I know one of my friends, he works at call centres when he's back in the UK. A few of my other friends, they already have previous degrees, such as pharmacy and biomed, and they can just come back and do locum jobs. So there are ways of funding your degree other than getting a loan, and at the end of the day you'll be loan free as well, so that's a bonus.
I suppose. Okay, cool. So and then so you run this agency, and you were saying it's you and a bunch of other students.
Yes.
What's the deal with the agency?
So the deal with the agency is that there are other agencies as well that do the work that we do, which is basically to help students apply abroad, help with the application process, help with the legal stuff, help with the entrance exam, help with settling in and relocating to Bulgaria. The problem with other agencies is that they usually tend to overcharge students and they don't really provide the right services. And us as medical students, we recognized this quite early on, and we said, you know what, this isn't fair. We want to actually help students rather than them getting overcharged like we did when we were applying. So we decided, because we learned the application process, we learned how everything is done, we made the right contacts, and now we can actually help other students who are applying rather than them getting overcharged and going through an agency that might not help the best.
Okay. Do most people use an agency?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it can be quite of a hassle applying abroad, and it can put people off applying abroad altogether. Okay. Because, as I said, mainly it's the legal stuff that dealing with that can be a bit of a hassle. Dealing with the entrance exam, just knowing that you have an agency to back you and give you the right resources, the right information is always useful.
Okay, so I'm in this position, I'm a 17-year-old student, 18, missed my offer. I then approach your agency. How much would you charge me? Why should I approach you particular and not the other ones? And what do you offer me?
So when you come to us, we have two separate packages that we offer, a basic package and an advanced package. The basic package only deals with the application process, and the advanced package deals with everything from start to finish. So we will help you with the application process, we will help you with the relocation, entrance exam. We'll help you during your studies because we'll be there. We have all the resources for each year of study. We can provide that. And after your degree, because by that time we would have already, you know, applied for jobs. We would know exactly.
So then you have the expertise in that area.
We have the expertise in that, exactly.
Help with that.
So we can help with everything from start to finish.
And how much do these packages cost?
They roughly cost around, the advanced package costs around £1,200.
Okay.
Although this can change depending on the time of year, how busy we get, and because after results day we do get very busy. So it's best to apply as early as possible to make sure that you secure the best price for our services.
Okay, and the basic package?
The basic package is around £800.
Okay, so let's say I pay the £1,200 and then I don't get in. Is that a thing? Do people not get into these universities? Or?
So you don't pay the £1,200 altogether.
Okay.
You pay a £500 deposit beforehand. Before the application process starts. That will cover your legal costs and it'll be as a security deposit for us to actually do the work for you.
Okay.
And then after you actually get into the university is when you pay the majority of the fee. So if you don't get in, it's not a total loss. And we will help you then apply to a different university if you don't get into the university of your first choice.
Okay. So how competitive is it? Let's say for your university, let's say I've got like B's and C's at A level and I've missed all my offers, or I didn't get any offers. Do I realistically stand a chance of getting in?
Yes, definitely, 100%. There's students who apply with C grades and they definitely get in. When I was applying, there were students alongside me who really did not have any opportunity to study medicine in the UK, but they still managed to get in as well, because it really depends on how well you perform in the entrance exam rather than how well you did in your A levels. Especially for my university, they don't have any minimum grade requirements. They just really focus on the entrance exam. Okay,
but surely there's some kind of correlation that like the sort of students that get D's at gets D's at A level is probably not going to perform as well as an A-star student taking this entrance exam.
Of course, definitely. There is that correlation. And some students do not get in because they only pick the top students in the rankings. But then there is a waiting list as well. And many students, after actually reconsidering in September, let's say, they say, you know what, I'm going to take a gap year and I'm going to try again in the UK. So because of that, a lot of students actually don't take their place, and that gives space for other students to take those places. Other than that, because there's so many universities available, if you don't get into one, you'll definitely get into another.
Okay. Is there, so it sounds like what you're saying right now is that you can have the worst results in the UK and obviously not get into medicine because it's quite competitive here, but someone in Europe will take you. Is that probably fair to say?
I believe so, because there are universities which are more competitive than the other, because they're in a nice city like myself in Plovdiv is more competitive than another city which is a bit further away, a bit smaller, like let's say Pleven, or there's another called Trakia Medical University, which isn't situated in the best of locations, which doesn't make it as competitive, and because of that, the entrance is more easier there as well. Okay, so I think we've covered most of the ground in terms of, like, hopefully if someone sees this video, they will now know that studying in Europe is an option. Presumably there's like lots more written stuff, and we'll put links in the video description and wherever you're watching this, and on your website there's going to be more information. And you're saying that most students do use an agency. So, you know, the reason we're having this conversation is because you want to plug your thing, but we try to, obviously, that's fair enough. Appreciate the hustle. But hopefully we've provided enough information for people to realize that this is an option. Yes, definitely.
Albeit you do have to be able to pay the annual fee and also the agency fee and all of this kind of stuff. Which discriminates naturally against students from low income backgrounds, but, you know, like,
unfortunately that is, it's a bit of a problem, but hopefully we're seeing a rise in medical students that are applying abroad because they are so focused on, you know, becoming a doctor, and they do tend to find ways to fund the degree.
Okay, so one thing I'm curious of, so everyone has this view that medicine is supposed to be hard and intellectually demanding, and that's partly why the grade boundaries in the UK are quite high. It's quite competitive. If you get C's and D's at A level, you're not going to get into the UK. Do you think that someone with C's and D's at A level would make a good doctor? So as you said, it is intellectually demanding, which is why even though the entrance might be easy, the course is not.
at all. It's the same as it would be in the UK, and that is why if somebody does get into the university, they still have to keep up with the workload. They have to still, you know, work really hard, especially if you do get C's and D's at A-levels, because as you said, it will be more challenging for those students than those that have A's and A stars. But personally, I've seen students with A's and A stars because they're more confident in their abilities. It turns into overconfidence, and then they're the ones that end up failing rather than the students that have C's and D's, and you know, they work harder than the other students and they actually make it through.
Okay, so I suppose it's not a case of you just kind of pay some money and then you have a medical degree. It's quite a rigorous thing, and ultimately you do have to pass the exam. Course, you have to be a legit doctor, and when the UKMLA comes along, that'll add some element of, you know, standardization. Which is why the UKMLA is coming along in the first place, to actually standardize all doctors, because at the moment the only people that have to sit an exam is people that are coming from outside of Europe. And that really meant that students from the UK and Europe, if their knowledge wasn't up to scratch, then they wouldn't really have any tests to actually prove that. However, now with the UKMLA, it's going to be for UK students, European students, and international students alike. So everyone has to sit that exam, everyone has to show and prove themselves. So it's not a case of, oh, I've got bad grades, I'll just get into medicine, I'll just become a doctor without actually putting any work in, but you have to put the work in regardless. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because that was something I was thinking about. That
it does.
It's because it seems a bit weird that you would.
It seems like a dream come true, like, you know. I'll just pay some money on something I've got a medical degree, but it's not really definitely not like that.
Okay.
And many people are put off by that, thinking that their degree would be worth less because they're going abroad, but that's not the case. It's recognized by the GMC. You can find the university on the GMC website. They've got a whole list of universities that they recognize. And because of that, and the reason they do that is because they know that the course is going to be as good.
Pretty legit.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. If you had your time again, and let's say you got an offer in the UK, would you do you wish you'd gone to medical school in the UK, or are you quite happy where you are in?
Personally, I actually don't.
Okay.
And that's mainly because the living costs are so low in Bulgaria that I can get more for my money, and I can actually enjoy my time at university more than I think I would if I took a place in the UK. That's because I'm comparing it with my friends who are actually studying in the UK, and they're always broke compared to me. Like, for example, going to the cinema costs like £4 or £5 compared to here, where that would be like half a ticket's price. So there's a lot to do in Bulgaria as well. It's right next to Greece and Turkey, so during our weekends and breaks, it's literally just a bus ride away to go to Istanbul or to Thessaloniki, which is in Greece. So we've got great student life there, and because of that, I don't really think I would take a place in the UK.
Okay, that seems pretty cool. All right, I think that covers most of the things we wanted to talk about. So just to recap, I miss out on my offer, I don't get any offers. For the most part, I have the option of contacting an agency such as yours. I don't have to, but it's a bit more effort. I suppose kind of like a mortgage broker, like you can fill out all the forms yourself.
Exactly.
It's a real pain in the bum.
Exactly.
You'd rather get someone to do it for you.
Exactly.
And if you're paying, you know, £40,000 over the course of 6 years, what is £1,200 in the application stage? Naturally, this obviously discriminates against people from low income backgrounds. It is what it is. We can't cure inequality at this stage of, you know, the medical application process.
That's true.
Then I go through an agency or do it myself. Each university in Europe has its own entrance exam, so I just kind of work out how to do well in that entrance exam. I have to, if I want to apply that year, I have to do a very rapid turnaround. Got to work my ass off, presumably for a few weeks, to get the grades for this entrance exam. And once we're there, within a few weeks, you've got to go like, all right, let's move to Bulgaria, find a house. Accommodation-wise, does the university sort that out? Like, how does that work?
So accommodation-wise, majority of the students tend to go for private apartments because they are cheap and they're closer to the university campus. The university does provide accommodation, student dorms, but they're not really that nice because you have to share them with another person. It's just it's a small room with 2 beds and a fridge. That's it. That's all you get.
Fair enough.
But it is quite cheap. It's like €70 a month for that.
Oh, wow, okay. Okay.
If you're really on a budget,
if you're really on a budget, you can always live with someone else with a fridge, and that's all right.
You've got that, but if you want to go for something a bit more luxurious, you can get a nice flat. And because so many students are going to Bulgaria, there is a lot of investment that is going on there right now, with new buildings being built, especially for students. With 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom apartments. So even if you want to share with someone, you can get a €500 2 bedroom apartment and share that between 2 people.
That's so good. Oh, okay, cool. So now we're living in Bulgaria. We're studying medicine for 6 years. First 2 years generally are pre-clinical, then you have 3 years of clinical, and then your final year is kind of like F1, where you're working in hospitals and stuff like that. And then at that point, you have the option of applying to the UK for F2.
Yes.
But we're kind of not sure what the full details of that are going to be 6 years down the line because of the UK MLA and because of how things are going to work. Because I think at the moment it's not part of the same process as the F1 as our F1s do. But I imagine once the UK MLA standardizes,
things are going to change.
Things are going to change, so we don't really know about that. So I guess that's not really something people should be worrying about at this stage.
The main thing is your degree will be accepted. So at the end of the day, because you're going to have to do the UK MLA, whether you're a UK student or an international student, you shouldn't worry about your job prospects later on. You'll fit somewhere along.
You'll find a job somewhere in the UK if you don't want to come back.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you would like to?
Not just the UK, to be honest. You can practice medicine anywhere in Europe, apart from, because of course the UK is going to have the UK MLA. But in the rest of Europe, you can work without passing any entrance exams or anything like that.
Okay.
So the degree is accepted all throughout the EU. And then of course, if you want to go to US, you can do the US MLE. There's lots of options.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, thank you for coming, for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
We'll leave links in the video description to your agency and loads of other information like the GMC's website and where you can find all of this sort of stuff.
Definitely.
This is interesting. I never really appreciated before that Europe is a legit option, but you've sold me on it. Okay, so when I get messages from Instagram from people when they miss their offers, sadly, I'll send them your way. And hopefully we can direct them to this video and they can see that this is a genuine option.
Yes, definitely.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so that was my new friend Abdullah explaining how to study medicine in Europe. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful. There's going to be links in the video description to all of the stuff that we mentioned, including all the websites, like all the list of universities that the GMC accepts, and also a link to his agency. You can check it out if you feel like it. Seems reasonably priced. Yeah, seems reasonable. It's a nice guy. Yeah, try it out. Cool, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.